Alright you lot, we've got a FTX Carnage on the bench. What we're going to do is I'm going to nick the battery pack out of this, and we're going to do a bit of servo testing, and we're going to use this servo tester here, and I'm going to test I need to nick the battery pack. I'm going to test the servos. I've got a servo somewhere, don't know where it's gone, and if that servo don't work that I've got, I'm going to get the servos out of a buggy, and we'll stick that in the Savage, and we'll put a receiver in it, get all that kind of stuff working now, and then, yeah, that's that really. I thought I'd nick the battery out of this one because this is the most easiest. These battery boxes what FTX use, they're the most easiest ones to get into. One screw there, one screw there, look. Bob's your uncle, and you take that off, and then there's your battery underneath there. Simple to do, it's the easiest one to take apart. All the other ones, difficult to get out. So, let's just see whether this servo, let's just see whether this servo works. This is the servo that come in with the Savage, but it was in the box. It'd been taken out of the car, and it was in the box. So I'm just going to see if it actually is going to work in negative there. So that's that powered up. Now we should be able to plug this in, and negative there. Alright, there's one servo, hopefully you can see that alright, and at the moment, it seems to work alright, doesn't it? How do we change that? I've forgotten. That's centre, that's automatic, it's working alright. Put a bit of stress on it. A little bit noisy maybe. But it's working. So this is going to be the throttle and brake servo. Why this was out of the truck, I don't know. But it appears to be working alright. I can switch it onto manual mode. That seems to be right. I can't, don't know. So I think I'm just going to put this back in the truck. We'll put this back in the Savage. Yeah, and go from there really. See what happens. I'll put this battery in there. Before I put it in, I'll put this on charge, make sure it's got full charge in it. Yeah, we'll go from there. See you in a minute. While we're waiting for that, the battery's on charge. I just want to make sure it's fully charged before I stick it in here. Let's have a little play around with this. I've got some receivers. Got a little pack of receivers here. This was sent by a subscriber under the name of Bo. Very nice chap over there in the Netherlands. He said to me, some of them aren't as good as others. He said the ones with the short antenna have not very good range, and the ones with the long antennas, got a bit rattly in it, have a better range. So that one's got a long antenna, right? That's got a longer one, right? Okay, that's got a short little one. That one there seems to be the best one. That's got a longer antenna than the other ones, so we'll go with that one. That one's very rattly. That one's not. And that one's not. This one's very rattly. I reckon this is probably one of the dicky ones. He said, I've got these receivers. Some of them are not very good. Some of them are better. Some of them are all right. So make of them what you will. So I said, all right, no problem. So I do know that some of them ain't going to be very good. Other ones are. But we'll stick them back in there then. And we'll put this back. I'll put that in my little drawer for receivers. Right, so that means we've got to take off the old high gear, the old, I'm still camping, the old high-tech receiver. Oh, it's got Velcro on it, that's handy. The person who put this together knew what he was doing. So this is a very nice receiver. I'm going to keep it matched up with the transmitter what I've got over there, which is, I'm still charging it. You know, never know, that battery might pull through. I don't know why we've got some tape on the back of there though. So there we go. This isn't a charge switch. I have got a charge switch I could put on this, but I'm not going to put it on there yet because I haven't yet got a battery pack, a hump pack for this car, for this truck. And because I'm doing well, I want to try and make it nice. I'll run it on that old one for now. While we're doing a bit of testing, I'll run it on that old one. And then I'll get a new one. I was looking at new ones today, and I couldn't believe the price of them, man. Unbelievable, the prices of hump packs. I mean, some places I see just an ordinary battery pack like this one here. Pulled the wire out. Battery said open circuit. Just an ordinary one, right? Not with the charge lead built in or nothing. Just an ordinary 1600 milliamp. God, these scissors seem better days, don't they? Battery. 25 quid, 24 quid, and I'm thinking, Jesus, man, I ain't paying that. Not for a battery. No way, man. That is some crazy stuff. So I'll have to wait. I'll run it on this old one, and then once we've got everything nice, we've got a nice new engine in it. What way round should I have that? That goes that way, doesn't it? Where's the aerial comes out of there? So really, that goes that way. Yeah, I want it like that then, don't I? I want it like that. Because I'm still going to run an aerial tube. I'm still going to put this bit of aerial up through the tube, and I'm still going to put an aerial tube on it, because I like aerial tubes. I live for aerial tubes. So, there we go. That's that. That can go on there. Right, now let's have a look at this. What's all this mumbo jumbo on here? Look. This is the steering servo, which has got tape around it for some reason. You probably can't see any of that, can you? There's tape. There it is. There's tape around this steering servo. I don't know if I want to uncover. Oh. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. He just put tape around it. Probably to try and keep it together. Perhaps he didn't have any cable ties. It's a bit strange. So there's a wire. There's a wire which goes down inside there, which is connected to this speed controller, this speed thing, and that goes up inside there. This is all, I don't want the speed thing, you know. I don't want that. I mean, why would anybody want to know how fast an RC car is going, and why would anybody want to know how fast a bloody monster truck is going? They're not meant for speed. They're meant for jumps and climbing over stuff. I don't want it. It's in the way. But I don't want to ruin it at the same time. I don't want to chop the wire. But at the same time, I don't want to take it off. Let's see what's underneath. Let's take... screws in there. That screw's definitely in there. Let's try and take off this. Let's take the battery box out, and then what we might be able to do, we might be able to see what's going on. I might just better unplug the speedo or take off the whole assembly. I mean, it just seems like a bit of a waste of time to me. I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to know the speed of an RC car, unless you're on purposely trying to do like a maximum speed run or some rubbish like that. Well, I was hoping that might make that come looser, but it didn't. Can't really see where that goes. Oh, right, okay. So that goes, that wire, I can't show you it, I won't be able to get the camera in there. But that wire, that little one there, goes down through the battery box, and then it goes under, and it appears to go into around where the diff is. There somewhere. Yeah, I'm not interested in that whatsoever, so I'm going to do a bit of chopping around. I don't want to ruin the Speedo because I want to put it back in the box. I got the box for it, I want to sell it, make me get some money back. Well, I don't know how this Speedo works. I mean, I've got the instructions, but can anybody, any of you lot, put in the comments, the steering servo, which is here, is connected to this. Why? Why on earth would the steering servo be connected to a speedometer? Venom speed meter. Why? Why would the steering servo be connected to a speed thing? The steering servo. Because all the steering servo does is steer the wheels. The steering servo doesn't measure the speed of the wheels or anything like that. I mean, I can't make any sense out of that. Perhaps to you lot it's normal, common sense, and well, of course it's connected. How else would it work? But I don't know how that would work. Perhaps it does the steering as well. Perhaps it's also a gyro, so that when you're going fast, it keeps the wheels straight. Perhaps it is. I don't know. That's the only method. That's the only explanation I can come up with. Because I've come across speedometers before on RC cars, but they've literally just been the ones that aren't GPS, because obviously this isn't GPS. It's too old. They connect to either in the gearbox or on one of the wheels, a little magnet. But this one is connected to the steering, so I'm assuming it's got some sort of gyro, something in it, which keeps the wheels straight, so that when you're going fast, you know, you won't flip over and you'll just go in a straight line, and it makes the steering. I ain't got a clue, but whatever it is, I don't want it. And I'm getting very, very tempted now just to snip the wires, but I don't know. Oh, my bloody mess. What a bloody mess that is. Right, we'll sort it out. Back in a bit. Oh, I tell you what, I've looked at it and I've thought about it, and I've just thought, you know what, let's just see you later. That's a waste of time. Oh, comes off of there anyway. That ain't no good, is it? That's just a waste of time. That is. This is where you lot come back to me and you say, do you know that's a rare relic? That's worth a lot of money, that is. And I'll be like, bloody Jesus, are you sure about that? Oh dear. A little rubber grommet. I might have to take this plug apart and try and get that through there. But that also needs to, that little grommet also needs to come out of there, and then I can get the little wires through. Right, that's better. I've got this wire poking up through here now, but I'll be able to get rid of that. That's no use to me whatsoever. And also, that little plug might come in handy. I might keep that little plug. Now I've got two great big holes in the side of there, but you know what? I think I've got one of these lids somewhere. Either that or I could just get a different one at some point. But do I really care if it's got holes in it? No, not really. One of those holes will come in handy because I'm going to put on. I don't know where it's gone. Where's it gone? Oh, well, I've got a charge indicator somewhere. I'm going to put that on. Right, battery pack. Fully charged, absolutely red hot for some reason. Battery pack. I'll put that down in there. Let's raise you up a little bit so that you lot can actually see what the devil is going on. Because at the moment you're a little bit far away, and you probably don't like being far away, do you? So we've got battery pack down in there. A little bit of a hump packy. This Velcro, which is not sticky anymore, that goes on there. That fuel pipe doesn't want to go through there. And that can go in there. And don't forget, when I take this truck apart and you know, do any other modifications that I'm going to do to it, I'll get rid of the rest of the speedo stuff, you know, where it's on the gearbox and all of that type of rubbish. I'll remove all of that, but for now we just want it like this, and then you know, we can work things out. So let's put on the servo. We've got that servo that I just tested, so we can put that in now, and luckily it has still got the screw in it, so that'll be alright. Quite excited actually to see this actually get going, you know. Hopefully I'll better start it up soon. I'm determined. I'm sure somewhere I have got a roto start shaft. There is one somewhere, because I gave a load of them away. But I am sure that I did keep one for myself. But I might be wrong. I might not have done, but I'm quite sure that I did. Now, how does that go? Oh, that was it, wasn't it? Yeah. It goes down there and then pokes up again, doesn't it? It's been a long time since I took a Savage apart. Got to try and remember how the bloody wires and other bits and bobs actually go. Right, let's screw it in first, at least a little bit. So I don't know what this other servo is, whether this is a high-tech servo as well, but I'd imagine we've got servos to match the transmitter and receiver, so they probably are both high-tech unless they've given up in the past. Don't forget, this truck was built more than 20 years ago. We're in 2023 now, and this, well, it might have been 20, it depends when he bought it. I mean, I think this kit came out at the end of 2002, beginning of 2003, if my memory serves. I dare say some of you lot are probably going to put me right in the comments, and please do, because, you know, I always like to be corrected when is necessary. But it's around 20 years old, so, you know, like my Savage, my 21, that's got the original servos in it. The first ever servos, it's still got in it. I never ever changed the servos, and they still work to an extent. You know, so that's got to be a good thing. Now that should poke up through there. Bear with me while I just do that. So I've just taken this bottom plate off in order to get to that little hole there, better to poke that through. And we can see that the steering servo is a high-tech servo, so they're probably the original servos that he bought and put in it when he bought the radio gear. There's the speedo thing, that little piece of metal there screwed to the bottom of the plate, and there's a magnet glued onto this drive shaft, and then there's another little sensor down in there, a magnet, and that senses this amount of speed. Well, that goes around, and that's how it calculates the speed. We've got the original disc brake. Oh, that reminds me, one of you lot is absolutely hilarious. In one of the, let me show you, in one of the other videos, the video when I got this and I was looking through the box and I found a clutch pad. I didn't know it, I didn't realise at the time, but I said several times, that's an old brake pad, that's an old brake pad, that's an old brake pad. I didn't even think, didn't even know what I'd said. And then when I was editing that video, I realised that I called it a brake pad, had a little chuckle to myself, and just carried on with life. One of you lot put in the comments, brake pad? You've had RC cars for 20 years and you called it a brake pad? That person, Alex's RC or whatever his name was, hilarious. It's a clutch pad, but just called it a brake pad, didn't I? It is interesting how he done all these different modifications, the speedo, all this metal stuff and everything, but he still kept the original plastic, or whatever you want to call it. I dare say I'll get corrected what it is, but the original brake disc You know, on the Savage, my 21, I had that for ages, but then I bought this metal twin disc set. You can see there's some metal, I don't know what, stainless steel, some description. Very good, makes it stop on a dime. But yeah, surprising he'd done all them mods and he didn't change the disc. Anyway, let's get, I'll leave all that like that. And the good thing is, I know I've cut this wire, but I'm going to keep that plug so I can always reattach it if needs be, and the other end of it can be reattached as well, so it's not completely wasted. But I just don't want it, man. I just don't want it. It's no of interest to me. Alright, I've switched it round this way because it's easier for me to work on it this way, because I prefer it. I'm right-handed, you see, so I like to go that way around. That's not very good that don't stick on there, is it? But what can I do? So we got throttle servo. Oh, I've got to put that on. Where's the screw for it? I thought I lost the screw then. I'll have to centre it actually first. So I'll get the battery pack hooked up and then I'll put it on centre and then that'll be alright. Steering. That can go that way. Like that. Throttle. Oh bloody hell, I'll have to get some more stickiness for that. Jesus, man. I think one is steering, isn't it? I don't know. You don't know me by now. I just plug it in and see what happens, and we go from there. God, that's it. That's proper in the way for you, isn't it? That proper is in the way for you. Look, about that. Bit better, isn't it? Not the best though. Right, battery. That's the switch. Don't know what way around that's supposed to go. That way's got to go on there. Positive and negative in there. Positive and negative in there. Right, but before I do that, let's center this servo. Does that turn on? Yeah, it does turn on. Before I do that, let's center this servo. And then at least I know that that's all in the center position. So I don't normally use these servo testers. I'm normally like a I'll just plug it in and put the transmitter trim to 0 and then we're away. But that's neutral. That's the neutral position now, so we should be good to stick our horn on like that. Screw the screw down. Like that. Now we should have, if I press this button, oh look, it's going through it. Full throttle, brakes. Full throttle, in the middle. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that servo, I don't think, which is a good thing, because we don't want anything wrong with it, that's for sure. Plug that into that, that into that, and now I've got to go and get the, where is it, transmitter. should be able to bind this transmitter to the receiver. If I can get the bind plug in between them. There we go. Not in there very well, but I think it's in. Right. Right then, so I've taken a few minutes just to get this set up how I wanted it. It's a bit of a mess. I cable tied them wires together, but now we have working steering and working throttle and brakes. The brakes do work and the throttle works quite well as well. So I'm using this Fly Sky transmitter, and I've got the endpoints for the throttle set at 80%. Now what you really want ideally, because a lot of you always say to me, why does this happen? So you want it so that when you push the brakes, right, the throttle is closed. And when you let go of the brakes, watch the brake and watch the throttle. Throttle doesn't move. Now what happens is, if you have the trim set wrong, when you let go of the brakes, it will go. And that's when you let off the brakes, the car automatically accelerates. And people go, every time I let off the brake, I brake and then I let off the brakes and the car shoots off by itself. It's because you've got the trim set wrong. So when you've got endpoints, not all transmitters have endpoints, but this one does. So you need to set the trim so that you've got it just on the right bit in between there. So when you let go of the brakes, you get full brakes, but when you let go of the brakes, the throttle doesn't open. And when you have full throttle, you've got full throttle. And you can use the endpoints on the throttle side to make sure that it opens full throttle. But it doesn't go too far, because if the servo is trying to keep going, even though the throttle slide is all the way out, you're just going to damage your linkages and damage your servo, burn it out, do whatever. Not going to be good for it. So I've set the endpoints now. We've got full throttle. That is all the way as far as it goes. And what you can do when you've got two hands, pull the trigger with one hand, and with the other hand, while you've still got it pulled, pull this a little bit and make sure the slide's all the way open, or you can take the effort off and have a look. Yeah, so I've got brakes, I've got throttle, all that's working. I've got steering. That's all good. I've adjusted the steering endpoints as well. I haven't done the steering trim very well. I've set it rough, but I won't be able to do that until I actually get to drive it. So there, that's that done. All I've got to do, put that back together, stick an aerial tube on it. I've got to find something sticky to stick down the receiver. Then I can put the lid back on, and that's that pretty much done. I'm going to put all this in the box with the connector and everything. Look, some of you might say to me, why did you cut the plug off? Why didn't you just poke your little pins through, take the plug off, put the wire through, put the plug back on? Look, I don't know. I can't see anybody really. That's old. These days people have GPS speedos, don't they? And I'm not really that interested in it, so I cut the wire. The wires can be put back together if needs be, or I can take the plug off the bit that I cut off and put the plug back on the wires that have been chopped. It'll be fine, don't worry. And when I end up stripping this part apart, if I do end up stripping all this part apart, I'll take off the rest of the speedo stuff and put it all together, put it in the box. So those of you that are thinking, what an idiot, why did he cut the wires? Well, it's not something that I particularly care about too much, to be honest with you. Let's put the rest of this back together, and that'll be a job well done. Oh, probably should mention it, because I just realised that I haven't yet done it, and I dare say some of you are going to say you haven't set up the failsafe. Well, I haven't, and look what happens if I simulate losing signal or running out of battery. Can you see? We get full throttle action. Right, let's set the failsafe up, and then I'll put the lid back on. Right, there we go. All you have to do, you don't need to use specifically this. If you haven't got this, it doesn't matter. You just need something that's like that, a bit pointed. And that little hole in there next to the LED, you hold the brakes all the way on, right? And then, while you've got the brakes held on with one hand, put the little pin in there. That will blink a couple of times. And after it's flashed a couple of times, let the pin out. And then you can do your simulation. It'll go to full brakes. Failsafe is now set. Righto, that's the lid on. Now I've just got to put these little the R clips back in. I always struggle with these bloody R clips. They're quite awkward on these, but if you use a pair of pliers like that, you can just push them in, and there's not usually any trouble with them, as long as you get the it started. Trying to do it this way so you could see it, and you probably bloody can't see it anyway, so I'm just going to turn it round to make it easier for me. But there we go, that's it, that one's in. Slide that one, another little one on this end, and after that we're well away. I've just got to go and find myself a little a starter rod. I'm certain that I have got one somewhere, so I will find one. One of you subscribers there, you said that you had one, and did I want it? So I said, all right, I'll have it. So I've also put a charge indicator on here. Don't know whether you can see that or not. There's a charge indicator. I've just got to stick a little bit of, that'll go on the side there, that'll go on there like that. Stick a little bit of Velcro on there, and that makes use of one of those holes. Let's get rid of some of this clutter off this bench. We've got screwdrivers, we've got scissors, we've got pliers, everything. According to this charge indicator, that battery that I just charged up fully is low bat, and it's flickering onto the low. So it's probably had it. I mean, that battery's probably no good anyway. And if you use anything, it goes on to low. Like, put the brakes on, it goes right on to completely flat, more or less. So either that charge indicator's had it, or the battery's had it. Oh well, I'll be getting a new one anyway, won't I? So there we go, you lot. Next thing, get this going. That's the next thing. I've got that PB blaster in there. I wonder if that's, I need to get a roto start shaft. I can stick that in there with the end of the drill, and then we can get that going. So I'll do that next. Stick around, you lot, and we'll see what engine I'm going to get for this. I'll give you a clue. Answer RC is the shop that I will be getting it from. So go and have a look on Answer RC's website, see what engines they've got, and you might get a rough idea, an idea of what engine I'm going to be getting for this. There you go. You never know, do you? I'll catch you on the next one, you lot. All the best. Enjoy yourselves. Love life. Remember, treat everybody with respect. Treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Ciao for now.